I'm Axel Frost. Today I'm here with a stream of a deck that probably not many people in the game. Not many people are interested in the deck right now, but I feel like it's very cool. I wanted to shine some light on it. It's a cute rogue deck for this format, and that deck is Trades. So let's start off with a bit of history about this deck. So Trains, or Earth Machine as it's more commonly called, was an archetype that mostly started its competitive life around 2019-2021 as MIT, or Machina Infinitrack Trains. It started off as a control deck that mostly wanted to use cards such as Overdrive and loopable disruptions like Citadel to constantly, let's say, disrupt the opponent. Then Infinitrack entering cards were a mechanism through which the deck could be more consistent, or could get to, for example, a Zeus easily to wipe an opponent's board going second. It then, with time, transformed into a more into a combo deck that would usually end on Regulus, Citadel, and 81, plus draws off of Infinitrack Channel, trying to mainly just draw hand traps off of it. The biggest wave of success this deck had, and the biggest top it ever had, was in 2023 at the WCQ during Kashtira format, being piloted by Petros Roussos, up to a top 16 finish. If you want to, there also is the feature match in which he beats Dragon Link, if you want to see it. So I want to talk about the deck because it's getting support in this new set, which is Blazing Dominion. Blazing Dominion is our latest TCG release, and not only is it bringing supports for fan favorite archetypes such as RDA and meta archetypes like Killer Tune, but in our case, it's bringing support to Trains, which is the archetype that was in the anime played by Annakaboom. So let's start off with the new card. First one is Exceptional Schedule. Exceptional Schedule is probably the strongest card out of the ones we got out of the new supports. It's a card that allows us to not only generate a token on our opponent's board, which is really important, but add Exceptional Schedule. Exceptional Schedule has been forever one of the power cards of Earth Machine due to its ability to summon out 2 machines from that. And this allows us to start our combos, and with one of the new cards, get some insane plays out of it. We have one of our strongest cards as well here, which is Super Dreadnought Real Cannon Flying Launcher. So Flying Launcher is a generic rank 10, which on summon can add any Earth Machine, Barrage Blast, or an equipped spell that sucks from your deck to the hand. It is really good because it does allow us to have an extra normal summon of any Earth Machine, which means back then when Noroi was legal, you could either extra normal summon a Noroi, or now you can grab, for example, a Scrap Recycler and extra normal summon it to send, like in the Christian variant, Smagu, or in this variant, a Blue Train. Also, it can, if you want, detach any number of materials and pop that amount of materials detached of spell traps. So if your opponent has 2 spell traps that you want to get rid of, you summon him, detach 2, pop those 2 spell traps. Then we have the 2 main deck trains that we got in this wave of support, with Night Train Blue Traveler being of course the strongest cards out of them, and Heavy Knight and Babel Decker being kind of like an in-archetype Kaidan card. Let's start off with Babel Decker. So Babel Decker, of course, is basically a weird popular. You can discard it from hand to add the Train Field spell, Revolving Switchard, which is now one of the key cards of the deck, thanks to its ability to either extend us to infinity or grab one of our good level 10 trains while going second, for example, okay. So, we were talking about Noctilus. So Noctilus and Train Blue Traveler, as we were saying, is able to grab the field spell from the deck, which allows us to extend to infinity thanks to Pegasus Knight, which can reborn an Earth Machine from the graveyard, or grab one of the good level 10 trains from the deck, for example, like a Derek Train or a Bullet Train to extend when we're playing through Disruption, or even Babel Decker, which I'll explain pretty soon. It also has a great second effect, which is able to reborn 2 Earth Machines from the graveyard together, but only once per duel. This is really good because we can summon it off of Exceptional Schedule with any low-level Earth Machine, for example, like a scrap recycler, make genius, and then we can use blue traveler to summon both it and scrap recycler under the 2 genius pointed arrows, proccing both genius to add a level 8 or higher earth machine, 5 or higher earth machine, and scrap recycler to bin an earth machine. The second one is Babel Decker. So Babel Decker is comparatively quite weaker to its brother in the set, but it's still very good. It does 2 things. The first one is when it's summoned, when it's normal or special summoned importantly, and you can normal summon him by paying no tributes, it can special summon 1 earth machine from your hand. So, for example, you can normal summon him, grab summon from your hand, for example, a infinite track harvester, and then activate harvester's effect to grab a monster, and if your deck can go harvester target decker, make them 12s or and brilliant twos. Or alternatively, thanks to its second effect, if you have been handled by your opponent or are trying to play through a board, you can activate this effect. Once per turn, you can overlay him into any rank 10 earth machine by itself, which is extremely good because it helps us. For example, in second, we can make flying launcher to try and try and grab any extender, or alternatively, you can try and make Gustav in Tuliba while going second for an yugiohtcg. The next card is Gustav Rocket. So, Gustav Rocket is our new end goal from the set. It is able to, if we control Gustav, discard a card from mana and relate himself onto it. Its effect is pretty good. It's a quick effect, monster negate from hand, monster negate, and it negates and destroys the monster. It burns for 1000 damage. It does have a drawback though, since it's pretty easy to summon in the deck. At the end phase, you either have to detach a material off of him, or it gets destroyed. But we can circumvent this problem. This is thanks to Infinite Track Goliath, which you can attach to him during our combo to make him indestructible, making so we do not have to detach any materials in the end phase. Lastly, we have the second best card we ever got, Convex Knight. This card is one of the most broken extenders this deck has ever received. Convex Knight, if we control any machine monster, can special summon himself and copy that machine's level, meaning you control a level 5 or a level 10 machine. We can easily overlay into the guy that's into one of the 2 guys that can search from our deck and grab an extender or an end piece like Regulus, and it has a very good second effect, which is to Foolish Burial any earth machine, which means you can send Tunneler to draw 2 cards and kind of tackle every combo piece, or alternatively, if you have already Tunneler in rotation, you can stand a Bullet Train, making it so during the end step, you will be able to grab back any earth machine from your graveyard, which is really good because it means that you will always have follow-up, especially thanks to annakaboom. So why should you play this deck? Well, first off, big machines go better, big damage, and really cool cards. But let's actually talk about its strengths. So this deck can play through a decent amount of hand traps. I do have replays in which I play through 3+ hand traps and still end on something. Everything leading to everything. This is because this deck has so many searchers and so many extenders that basically any starter will lead to this same end board, even if the hand is kind of wonky. The board is very hard to break. This is because not only do you have Omni Negate, but you have a trap card that can pop multiple cards. You have number 21, which makes your Gustav Rocket unaffected by card effects and pops a card thanks to the Derek attached. And lastly, you have follow-up in the form of Anger Knuckle, which can recycle back, for example, a Bullet Train from the graveyard, which you can then try and destroy with Rash Blast, to again grab something like your Regulus from the graveyard after you have spent it. So you'll be your turn again with a starter plus Regulus in hand. Very good follow-up also leads to the end board. The deck can shuffle back basically its entire combo pieces during the combo thanks to Tunneler, and Uh, of course, Bullet Train being able to grab back machine at the during the end step it is sent to the graveyard is really good. It has a good amount of non-engine. You can play upwards of 15 non-engine slots in the deck. I currently am playing 15 in 44 cards, which means that I almost always find some pieces, and you can play both Dominus Spiral and Purge, meaning that the deck has access to 2 Dominus cards, which are, of course, pretty valuable. It's good going second. I said the trains will rarely. This is because, of course, we have access to one of the most iconic Cody enablers in the history of all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is Super Dreadnought Juggernaut Train Liba, which can, once per turn, detach a material, pump its up by 2k, and attack a number of times equal to its materials plus 1. And lastly, this deck can, if you want and are boring, FTK, so you can play triple Gustav and just loop 1 and burn for 8k. That is not fun, just play the combo version. What are the deck's main weaknesses? Well, of course, Joel. The deck does have to add a lot to get to its combo. And then we have Charmies and other lingering hand trap. This is because since this deck does find itself summoning a lot both from hand and extra deck, Perulia and Fuelos will be very annoying to play around. Lastly, this deck needs to play bricks. You have cards such as Box and Tunneler, which are really undesirable draws which you kind of groan every time you draw. So, key cards are, of course, Blue Traveler, which is, again, as we said before, one of our best both starters and extenders. Flame Launcher and River Stormer, which are ways to basically cycle through our entire deck and get to every piece. And lastly, Exceptional Schedule, which is our best starter. Lastly, we have Convex Knight, which is an extender that allows us to do everything. This deck does have other options. Machinas. We used to have K9 before Noroi died. You could FTK. You can try and play a small RB package. The problem is, since the deck does play a lot of machines that have an attack higher than 1500, you will usually not find a lot of fuses for it. And lastly, we have Shuttle Fusion. Shuttle Fusion is a really good card going second in the deck. Mostly because, thanks to both Shekenaga and the new fusion that we will be getting, the deck gets an accessible rank 10 Earth Machine that we can summon off of Shuttle Fusion going second, that allows us to dump both Blue Traveler and a Cleave Genius, making it so the deck does have an easier time breaking boards. Future supports, you of course have the most busted out the ass card this deck will ever receive. Future Fusion Nova. This card is stupid. This card allows us to start our combo with Regulus on the field, meaning that we will be able to combo through always at least a hand trap, being able to negate either Joel or Nim if our opponent ever does try to interact with us. And this is extremely broken. So, we do have some replays and deck lists. These deck lists are kind of outdated, so I'd rather show you the ones I have on both Omega and Edo Pro. And I'll also show you some replays with it. We also can talk about matchups first. So I do have to test this format more, but this deck does have a really good off-note matchup. This is because we can use the token that Exceptional Schedule gives us to lock their main monster zone, making it so they cannot special summon their off-notes. I do have to, of course, start off by thanking the entire Discord server for allowing me to do this, Nick Ryder for introducing me to this deck, Frost Drakony for supporting my bullshit when I'm playing, and last but not least, everyone who showed up. So now let's get into the deck. So this is the standard build you will be playing post Blazing Dominion. As you can see, we do have a lot of the usual machine pile suspects, aka Scrap Recycler and Therion King Regulus. These two are cards that will basically be omnipresent in any machine deck. This is because they're highly searchable in machine decks. Scrap Recycler often serves as a starter, and Regulus is a highly accessible Omni-Negate and end-board piece. You do play one Harvester. The math is kind of conflicting on him. You can either try and play 1 or 3, it's kind of fine. But you would rather be normal summoning Recycler. although Recycler is a worse starter compared to Harvester, it does play around draw, which means it's warranted that you either play one or max him out instead of Harvester. It depends on would you rather have a higher quality starter or a starter that is able to kind of beat what is your kryptonite. You can play either 1, 2, 3 Convex Knight. You do have to play him though. He is your best starter, and you will be almost always searching him off of the best brick ever released, which is Ancient Gear Box. Ancient Gear Box is a very frustrating card, especially when you draw him. The best way I can describe him is increase. He is a card that kind of stops many of your lines to draw him, and you do have to kind of play 5 steps ahead if you do want to combo in your hand. So you can search Convex Knight off of Ancient Gear Box because it does have 500 defense. And what do you do with him? So you usually summon him and copy the level of one of your level 10 Earth machines on the field, so that you will be able to make either Gustav Max or number 81. With your Foolish effect, you will always be dumping one of these two to get follow-up. He's also really good to draw because he's the best extender in the deck. Heavy Forward is the reason why we can afford to play one Harvester, because Heavy Forward just acts as 3 extra copies of it. We have to play the Infinitrack kind of bricks. Those is the one you kind of want to draw, but also you do kind of want to die if you only draw him. We have Trencher, which is what you will usually be summoning off of Dozer, and Tunneler. Tunneler is what you are of course dumping off of him. You play 3 Blue Traveler. Blue Traveler is one of your better starters because you can use your Evolving Switcher to grab Babble Decker, making it so that you can always get to Flying Launcher and get to Scrap Recycler and start your combos like that. Revolve Chart is the deck's field spell, but you will be seeing a lack of terraforming in this deck. This is because although you want to search this card does not start combos by itself. You want to either use this card's first effect to grab an Earth Machine if you are lacking on good starters, or what you will mostly be doing going first is using its second effect to summon Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede from your deck and reborning an Earth Machine and making them both level 10s, making it so you can either again make Flying Launcher or one of your 2 endboard pieces. Lastly, we have to talk about Regulus. Regulus, we will be always searching either off of River Stormer or Flying Launcher, and of course acts as our kind of biggest pressure putting endboard piece. As you can see, the deck can afford to play Nova and Infinity. This is because if you start off with Exceptional Schedule, you can summon Scrap Recycler and Blue Traveler, and you can use the Scrap Recycler's effect twice so that you can get both Harvester and Trencher in rotation, making it so that before you lock yourself into Earth Machines, you can go Harvester, target Recycler, make them both level 5s, overlay into Nova, and then into Infinity. We do play, of course, Clockwork Knight, Goliath for the combo to make this guy indestructible, Genius, Ballista, and Anger Knuckle. Anger Knuckle is both an extender and endboard piece for the deck. As you can see, the deck, as I talked about before, can afford a good amount of non-engine. Here we have 15. And I'm not playing the Charmies, of course, due to the format, mostly because Killer Twin can play around Charmies pretty well. Of course, the non-engine, though, can be tailored to your wants and needs, and also to your like locals and environment you play in. Same goes for this side deck. So, post-Future Fusion Nova, this deck does much weirder. Mostly because post-Future Fusion Nova, the deck does shift to a 60 card build. Meaning that to accommodate the Cyber Dragon bricks, you do have to kind of rebuild the deck as a whole. As you can see in this build, I'm also playing the 3 Shadow Fusion for going second, which allow us to make here I play the new Shadow card, Meshail, which is 8 powers when going second, that can, if we ever so need, try and clear some cards on the board. But of course, tutorial is over. We will be playing Shakinaga, which is negate when going second by discarding a shadow card. But its main use is being a level 10 Earth machine, meaning that it can overlay in Flying Launcher. Talking about replays. Let's start by going second into GMX. So this replay does kind of start from the middle because I crashed in replay, but this replay can show this deck stability when going second.
I'll abbassa la game speed.
Yeah, how do I do this? Fine. Give me a second. Let me try again. Go second to GMX. So, excuse me. This is of course the build post blazingdominion. I do have some post future fusion Nova, of course. Is the replay broken? God damn it, this replay is broken. I'll show the banded one instead then. I'll show the banded one. It's really annoying to get replays on Omega because Omega replays often break. So our opponent does end on a seemingly unassuming board, but it is much stronger than you think. Mostly because this board does have quite a few amount of disruptions. So here I start off, as you can see, by improving the Quem. This is because I do kind of assess in this board state the card that scares me the most is Quem, being able to, for example, summon back this Wabas, getting a Cartesian into rotation, and then getting Albas that way. I'm forcing him to get a cliche off of the Dark Dragon, making it so that he has less options. Then I start off by sending Blue Traveler and grabbing Field Spell and normally Railroad Stampede. The way I'm thinking is, if I'm able to make this rank 10, I will be always able to get out both Branded Retribution and the known set Fall in the Versus. So Railroad Stampede is the mechanism which I'm able to force out the Retribution and safely get access to my urgent schedule, getting the names I need into rotation, and starting off my combo. So here I did put him in a position in which he was kind of checkmated in. That is because he allowed me to get to Ancient Gearbox. That was a problem. That is a problem for him. That is because Ancient Gearbox allows me to get to combat 9. Fully shiny piece I need. For example, I would have fully geared the Babble Decker and just Storicate that way. But thanks to the fact that I chose her previously, it means that I can still play through Mirror Jade negating my stuff and still OTK him from this position. So here I use Derek Crane off of summon a schedule second effect, which is to reborn a level 10 Earth Machine by tributing a card I control, and overlay into Liba. Then I of course use Liba to burn him and use Derek Crane to pop his Quem, and I then move on to kill him. This one should be going second into Lunalight against my opponent, basically drawing everything. But I drew everything as well. Sadly, since I forced him to up his Gold Leo, he assesses that he's not able to combo any longer, which I don't think is the correct here. But he ends on board, which is pretty easy to make. So again, go push for lethal. Makes CDI, and then here he is, and he scoops once he sees them. He's able to I should have a good one against Doom Z, which is this one going second. So this showcases how you can still kind of play through draw, provided you have the correct hand and like 70 cards in hand. So here I do probably the wrong play. No, I didn't do the wrong play. Yeah, I did the wrong play by just not simply imperming him. So here I see the position I'm in, and I try as best as I can to push through the board. Now this is an interesting interaction you can do. If you have to get your exceptional schedule second effect into rotation, you can try and use, while going second, your Ballista to pop it and reduce a monster's attack to 0. And importantly, I also played around Solemn Accusation doing this, mostly because I did not activate the spell but activated a spell effect. Should have some more good replays. I do not have more good.
Albert Einstein, one of them.
Huh?
What's Albert Einstein, one of them?
No, that's not. I should have some more replays over on Edo Pro. Yeah. So this is a replay going first into Killer Tune, and this is post Future Nova. So this showcases the deck's strength post Future Nova. Oh, easy against Spanish. So as you can see, our opponent opened draw, which is kind of the kryptonite to our strategy. But thanks to, of course, drawing Regulus Future Nova, we're easily able to combo through the draw our opponent's has. Here, I do make the CDI. This is because making CDI here makes it so that if my opponent wants to nib me here, he is forced to. Importantly, post Future Nova, you can consistently get a continuous spell into rotation, meaning that you can almost always search Clockwork Knight, and you can pop it through your effect of Flying Launcher, meaning that even if you draw your Brick Clockwork Knight, you can kind of always still get its good effect. There I detach the material just to, I don't know. And here what I do is I use of course the draw I get, so that I can a combat snap for next turn and keep playing. Oh yeah, now I remember why I did that, so that the bullet train in my graveyard could get back the Pegasus Knight at end step, so I would have even more follow. As you saw, there was the interaction. I get the Gustav rocket prompt to destroy itself, but I decide not to detach my material. Since I do not detach my material, it tries to pop itself, and Goliath makes it indestructible, making it so that it sticks on the field even though it should not. It should not have. Here, Polly was a bit preemptive. I decided to, when I see the normal of Rico, so that he cannot keep, so that he does not continue synchroning, instantly use the number 81 effect to detach Deracrin and pop the Rico thanks to Deracrin's grave effect. I also have a decent replay against Annakaboom while going second, which showcases another one of the deck power play when he's of course going second. This is still the Future Nova build, but I did not draw it, so we will not be seeing it. This is basically playing standard Earth machines. So here I decided to keep Ash for the reverse because I was traumatized by an Annakaboom player using reverse to draw 4, get into the board, and mill out my entire extra decks. So here my opponent went on a pretty, I would say, bad board. He could have played it much better, of Asta Pixea, Alazonea, and Tromaria. I top deck Imperm, I decide to set Barrage Blast, so that even if it gets hit by the Alazonea, which I know he has, at least I don't instantly die. He is the Imperm, which doesn't mean a lot. And here, recognizing this position, I assess that I'm freely able to, if I have to, combo off. Remember going to this replay? Well, I didn't. Oh no, I did go through. And since I'm in an extremely simplified game state, I recognize that I should probably activate the Infinite Shock Channeler that I have in my graveyard to try and draw into more cards, recognizing that in this position, being up on cards is basically my win condition. I then go with end phase Bullet Train again, as you can see, pretty important to get that in, to grab back my Harvester so that I have more fall. In this position, I'm also very advantaged. This is because he cannot activate his small guys to search anything. I do also have this one against Killotune. If I remember, I am going second in... No, I am going first in this replay as well. Damn, my opponent bricked. Sadly, most going first replays these deck has are not really interesting to watch. That is mainly because this deck's going first is very, very good, meaning that usually there won't be much to see. But this is the kind of standard urgent schedule combo. A good one going second is which one was the good one? If I recall, it's this one. Yeah, should be this one. This replay also showcases how not many people have read the Earth Machine cards. So he ends on, I wouldn't say pretty modest board, but it's certainly a board of droplet high juicy values. Make Clifford Genius, and I feel like my opponent hasn't read that. That's because it goes drop it on Clifford Genius. The other one was it was this one, yeah. Which I do for him, but it didn't really end up mattering because he still set up something. I start off with Urgent Schedule. And here I going second Zeus so that I can get rid of forward. He also does a pretty good play of Madlove to bounce back his Caesar so he has more follow-up. Hold on. Should probably lower the audio. I just realized it's fucking deafening. Portion here, he decides to attack into the Super Dora, not realizing that he can attack into the Gustav rocket. My theory was that this was a pretty long game. This was the game 3 of the set, and game 1 and 2 were pretty drawn out as well. Here I stupidly Barrage Blast, but that still allows him to resolve the reason, and I had forgot that he had searched the Jokel Blaster. If you were asking why didn't he suck up Rocket, Rocket is still unmuted. And this man, seeing that he made a wrong play by trying to pop the synchro, and that I would have extended further, decided to just quit. This also showcases the deck's ability to play through disruptions. We are against a branded opponent that bricked, but still drew triple Imperm and found the Virtues. So you can see our opponent drew like a Phydraulis with no good target and double Imperm, and double Veiler. This side we also have three, let's say, being Trencher, Box, and Ancient and Cyber Dragon. So, as you can see, this deck is decent at going through a decent amount of the options. I'm really bummed out that the GM's replay is broken, because that replay is really good. Is a really good going second play. I play through full GMX board and am able to OTK through it. If yeah, Convex Knight does have a pretty good aesthetic. If anyone has any questions about the deck, I can also try and answer them. Of course, I'm to teach you the basics of this deck and how it's supposed to work. Also, RIP, this build died way too early. We didn't see enough of it, but it's probably for the best. Norway is not a balanced card at all. Same goes for Ripper. If you want to, I can also try and show what the deck's main combo line is. But I mean, you saw it in the KT replay. Go ahead. Okay, so this is a really good question, and it can be answered in a replay that I accidentally didn't say. This deck is really good at grind games, again thanks to cards like Bullet Train and Tunneler, just kind of always getting your engine back online. I do like to OTK because this deck is of course really adept at doing that, but if it ever needs to, it can also grind pretty well. So yeah, that's the answer. There are situations in which I do always want to OTK. For example, if I stare at a board that it's like the Doomsday board, I of course want to OTK in that position, because Doomsday as a deck can easily just loop back its resources. So against deck that also have good grind games, I'm always shooting for the OTK. But yeah, this deck can grind. This version especially, again, post the Future Fusion Nova, where you are playing double copy of Tunneler, meaning that you can perform the Tunneler shuffle back your engine twice, so that you again can grind for a third turn, and also if you're like in a bad spot, you can pot of grid again. The main card to grant that Bullet Train wants to get back is this one, Railroad Stampede, so that on turn 3 you can go normal with Railroad Stampede, target any level 10 in the graveyard, modulate them to 10, and combo again, because you usually will be shuffling back your Flying Launcher. If there's nothing else, I can also end the stream. If there's any more questions, I will be happy to answer. So if you're playing against the deck, the main cards you want to disrupt are the Flying Launcher and River Stormer. This is because these two cards are usually what allow you to get to your pieces. And another really good spot to hand trap is going Ghost Bell or Impulse on Blue Traveler. This is because by doing that, you're denying them of a double Monster Reborn, which they cannot use again. I do not recommend trying to instantly hand trap the starters. This is because since the deck has so many extenders, trying to hit the starter and block their place from there is kind of useless. You'd rather just take out their choke points. It's like, for example, when you're playing against Hero, you want to either keep your cards like Imperm and Dash, or stuff like Increase, Cross Crusader, or Vion. Those are your main choke points against the strategy. The one card, the one starter, if you really want to block one, is Urgent Schedule or Future Fusion Nova. This is because these two cards allow you to play through the most hand traps, even if you hit the choke points with hand traps. So these are the most dangerous starters. Also remember to ash Exceptional Schedule if you have a Charmy, or Charmy when they activate Exceptional Schedule, because if you don't, you will be stuck with a token. So yeah, this is the sauce if you want to stop the deck, because not many people are prepared for this matchup, mostly because it's so it also does work quite a lot with the classic rogue surprise factor of nobody expecting to fail. So I feel like this was it for trains. If you really want to know a bit more about matchups, as I said, the up-no matchup is pretty good, but the deck can also kind of play pretty decently against, for example, Archmage. I did have some pretty good Archmage games which I didn't save, and also another pretty good, pretty decent matchup for the deck is how's it called? Because even though the game now is pretty much just Cool Tune, Branded is a pretty good matchup for the deck because this deck can play pretty well through spot removal, which are the main ways Branded can disrupt the deck. Your main problems with this deck are negations. Negations are pretty annoying to play through, mostly because, again, for any deck, getting negated on a starter or choke point is annoying. So if you're going first, again, against this deck, your main cards to disrupt are River Stormer, and it would make sense to use spot removal if they have 2/10s on the field, because if you don't, they will make Flying Launcher with searches on summon, meaning that if they get you, they're always getting the extender they need. So the best thing you can do is, if you're going first, block them if you see that they have 2 level 10s. And pop River Stormer to shut off their plays. That is the main thing you should be doing when going first, and of course always negate Urgent Schedule, because if you don't, they will be able to snowball advantage, get into a Clifford Genius, and Clifford Genius to try and negate a card on the field by targeting any other card you control and the card your opponent controls. Cards that are pretty things I wouldn't do against this deck is siding stuff like back row removal. Of course, this is a monster board, and the main cards you'd want to use against this deck are when going second hand traps. Mostly because due to the board that you saw earlier, you are always getting either 1 or 2 Omni Negates, meaning that breakers are pretty lackluster against this deck. You can, for example, if they droplet or crown you when you're going first, you can chain Rush Blast and then chain number 81, so that you're always at least getting your Gustav Rocket unaffected, meaning that your board is still pretty hard to out because they still have to play through a pop for multiple cards and an Omni Negate. So I would say that this is it. This is as much as I can say about the deck. It probably will still evolve further with machine supports constantly kind of being trickled through time. If you want to experiment, you can try this card, this new support that just came out, which is Checker. You can try and use it as another one card starter. You can try to go normal Checker, activate its effect, tributing it for Blue Traveler, and then using its effect, pitching a card for a token and making inching your Ballista to get to box and combo that way. So there are other there constantly are other options. If you're trying a more Machina heavy build, you can try and play either Gaming Gamer GG if you expect yourself to be hand trapped, so that you will be always able to foolish like a Blue Traveler, or alternatively Gear Gagan Tax, being able to grab your Convex Knight dumping Blue Traveler, and then you can link them off into, for example, like a Anger Knuckle to still play. Because this is a pretty stupid thing about the deck that makes no sense. Any earthmachines grabbing box into Convex into Blue Traveler make it so that you can kind of combo from any position. Because if you get 2 rank 10s and get to him, the game is basically over. He's basically our version of Duo Drive. If usually this guy hits the field, you know that they're playing the game. So this was it for I feel the train stream. I don't know if any of you have any other answers. If I'm also happy to end here because I feel like I did my best to explain what this boat capable of doing, and what its main weaknesses and kind of counters are. Also, just to know, this deck can break. This deck is pretty bricky. This is something you should remember. This deck is pretty bricky. So this was it. Thank you for watching, for being here, and I have to thank Shiroun for recording me, and again everybody who showed up. Thank you.